Part 1. The billionaire was standing at the altar, ready to marry the woman everyone thought was his perfect match. Cameras surrounded the grand cathedral, guests filled every seat, and the world was watching the wedding of Michael Carter. Then the doors opened. A woman he had not seen in 15 years walked inside. She was holding the hand of a little boy. And when Michael looked into the child's eyes, he realized his entire life had been built on a lie. Michael Carter was one of the most successful businessmen in America. At 42 years old, he owned a technology empire worth billions of dollars. Magazines called him a genius. Investors called him unstoppable. Millions admired the man who had created an empire from nothing. But behind the expensive suits, private jets, and luxury homes was a man carrying an old wound. 15 years ago, Michael was not a billionaire. He was just a young man with a dream. Back then, he had spent his nights building software in a small apartment in Boston. He had no powerful connections, no family fortune, and no guarantee that his dreams would ever come true. The only person who believed in him was Sarah Miller. Sarah was not impressed by money or status. She loved Michael before he became successful. She stayed beside him during his failures and reminded him that losing a battle did not mean losing the war. They promised each other that one day they would build a life together. Michael, who is she? Michael had no answer. He had imagined seeing Sarah again many times over the years, but never like this. Not at his wedding. Not with a child. Sarah gently placed her hand on the boy's shoulder. This is Liam. The boy looked at Michael with curious eyes. Something about him felt familiar. The same expression, the same quiet confidence. Michael felt a strange connection he couldn't explain. Sarah reached in her bag and pulled out an old envelope. I kept this for 15 years, she said. I hoped I would never need to give it to you. Michael slowly took it. His hands trembled as he opened the envelope. Inside was an old photograph of him and Sarah from their college days. On the back, there was a message written in Sarah's handwriting. If you are reading this, it means the truth finally has to come out. Michael looked up. What truth? Sarah took a deep breath. The reason I left you wasn't because I stopped loving you. The guests watched silently. Jessica stepped back, trying to understand what was happening. Sarah continued. I left because someone made sure I believed staying with you would destroy your future. Michael frowned. Who? Sarah looked down. Then she said the words that changed everything. Your father. The room went completely still. Michael's father, Robert Carter, had passed away years ago. He had always been the person Michael respected most. My father, Sarah nodded. He came to me 15 years ago. He told me your dreams were too important to be ruined by a relationship. He offered me money to disappear. Michael felt his chest tighten. That doesn't make sense. I didn't believe him at first, Sarah said. But then he threatened to destroy my family's life if I refused. Michael stared at her. All the memories he had buried began coming back. The day Sarah disappeared. The unanswered calls. The silence. Everything. Then Liam slowly stepped forward. I brought something for you, the boy said. Michael stared at the wooden box in Liam's hands. For years, he had searched for that box. It was one of the few things he had left from his mother, and after her death, it had mysteriously disappeared. Now, it was standing in front of him, held by a child he had never met. The entire cathedral waited. Michael slowly reached for the box. His fingers touched the old wood, and memories came rushing back. He remembered sitting beside his mother as a child while she told him that some things in life were more valuable than money. He opened the box carefully. Inside were old photographs, handwritten letters, his mother's necklace, and one sealed envelope with his name written across it. Michael's heart raced. The handwriting was familiar. It belonged to his mother. He opened the letter with shaking hands. My dear Michael, if you are reading this, it means the truth has finally reached you. I need you to understand something. Your father loved you, but sometimes love can become control. He made decisions he believed were protecting you, but those decisions hurt people you cared about. Michael looked up slowly. His eyes moved towards Sarah. She was crying. What does this mean? Sarah took a deep breath. It means your father knew about Liam. The room became silent again. Michael looked at the little boy. What? Sarah wiped away her tears. When I left 15 years ago, I was already pregnant. The words hit Michael harder than anything he had ever experienced. Michael believed Sarah would always be there. Until one morning, she disappeared. No budbie, no explanation, no message. Michael searched everywhere. He called her friends, visited places they used to go, and waited for answers that never came. Months passed. Eventually, he accepted the painful truth he believed at the time. Sarah had chosen to leave him. The heartbreak changed him. Instead of giving up, Michael buried himself in his work. Years later, his small idea became one of the biggest technology companies in the country. Success came quickly, but every achievement felt incomplete. Then he met Jessica Adams. Jessica was intelligent, confident, and successful. She was respected in the business world and came from a powerful family. Their relationship became famous, and everyone believed they were the perfect couple. After years of loneliness, Michael finally decided to move forward. The wedding day was supposed to be the beginning of a new chapter, until Sarah walked in. The cathedral became completely silent. Sarah stood near the entrance, holding the hand of a nervous little boy. Michael could barely breathe. "Sarah," he whispered. Her eyes filled with emotion. "I know I shouldn't be here," she said quietly, "but you deserve to know the truth." Jessica looked between them, confused. A family. Michael decided not to let anger control him. He chose forgiveness. Years later, people no longer remembered Michael Carter only as the billionaire who built a technology empire. They remembered him as the man who created programs for single parents, supported children without fathers, and helped families rebuild broken relationships. One evening, Michael, Sarah, and Liam returned to the same cathedral where everything had changed. But this time, there were no cameras, no reporters, no pressure, just family. Liam stood beside Michael, holding his hand. Michael looked at Sarah and smiled. 15 years ago, he thought losing her was the biggest tragedy of his life. He was wrong. Losing those years with Liam had been the greatest loss, but finding them again became his greatest blessing. Michael finally learned the truth that money could never teach him. A billion-dollar empire could make a man successful, but love, forgiveness, and family were what truly made him rich. He opened his backpack and removed a small wooden box. Michael froze. He recognized it immediately. It was the same box that belonged to his mother. A box that disappeared after her death. A box that nobody had seen for years. Michael looked at Liam in shock. "Where did you get that?" Liam looked at Sarah. Sarah whispered, "Because inside that box is the truth about everything." Months later, Michael Carter shocked the world. People expected his company to collapse after the wedding disaster. Instead, he became more focused than ever. But this time, his priorities changed. He spent less time chasing headlines and more time being a father. He attended Liam's school events. He helped with homework. He learned about Liam's favorite books, favorite movies, and even the little things that made him laugh. For the first time in his life, Michael understood that being present mattered more than being powerful. Sarah never asked him for money. She never asked for a mansion or a luxurious lifestyle. She only wanted Liam to have the father he deserved. That was what made Michael respect her even more. Later, Michael discovered the complete truth about his father. Robert Carter had made a terrible mistake. He believed separating Michael and Sarah would force his son to focus on building an empire. He thought he was protecting Michael's future, but he had destroyed something far more important. All the success, all the achievements, all the billions of dollars in his accounts suddenly felt meaningless. He had spent 15 years believing he was abandoned, but the truth was that he had missed 15 years of his son's life. "Why didn't you tell me?" Michael asked. Sarah looked down. "Because I was scared. Your father convinced me that you would hate me for leaving. He told me you would choose your career over a family. I didn't know what to believe anymore." Michael looked at Liam. The boy was quietly watching him. "I am sorry," Michael whispered. Liam tilted his head. "For what?" Michael struggled to answer. "For missing birthdays. For missing first steps. For missing every moment a father should be there." "I should have been there," Michael finally said. Liam gave a small smile. "Mom always said you were a good person." Those words broke something inside Michael. After years of believing he had lost Sarah because she didn't love him, he realized she had sacrificed her own happiness to protect him. Then Michael looked toward Jessica. Everyone expected anger. Everyone expected her to walk away. Instead, Jessica quietly approached him. "Michael, do you love her?" The question surprised him. He looked at Sarah. Then he looked at Liam. "I don't know what I lost," he said softly, "but I know I don't want to lose them again." Jessica nodded slowly. She understood. Their relationship had been built on the future Michael created, but Sarah and Liam were connected to the past he never healed. Without causing a scene, Jessica removed her engagement ring and placed it in Michael's hand. "I hope you find what you were missing," she said. Then she walked away.